I didn't say. If love could be a picture, you put it on display. You need to know I'm happy. Your memory kills the pain. Just make sure that you're with me. I'll see you again. You are what I believe in. I don't need a reason to carry on. No, no, this is not how we planned it. Won't take it for granted. You made me strong, and our love was real. I will waste that time. Be sure to keep you close. When I reach out for you, put your hand in mine. Feel you there when I need you most. You're my ghost. You are gone, it's clear, but I can feel you here. You're my ghost. And when I'm missing you, it's like you're in the room. I can't stay with words I didn't say. If love could be a picture, you put it on display. You need to know I'm happy. Your memory kills the pain. Just make sure that you're with me. I'll see you again.
Here we go!
Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Happy? Did you say happy? Are you happy? I don't know. This is going to be a big one. I so happen to be sitting here in an Oculus sweatshirt because it's like the only comfortable thing that I had to wear at this temperature when it's going like this, and then all of a sudden crazy news strikes. So this is good timing, I suppose, for this whole thing. I don't know. Stuff is going crazy. We're gonna look at the news articles. We're gonna talk about the impact. This is not a full-on show. This is in fact my date night, and I am not going to scrap that. My wife was so good to let me come live now, so I'll spend maybe an hour with you guys and then I gotta go. I am out of water, however, so that's my limiting factor, huh? Alright, so let's start off. We're going to touch on all the articles that we've seen an hour ago. Some news has dropped relating to Rift 2 dead, Iribe leaving, yada yada, all about a shakeup about Facebook internally as well. Very interested to hear what everyone else has to say about this matter. It is a shocking piece of news, I gotta say. So we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna go through the articles that we can see online. TechCrunch is where I saw this. Thank you to, I think it was Paradise DK, whose message I saw first, alerting me to this fact. I was still working. I had a late night tonight, and I was still working away, just coming off, and I see Rift 2 dead. I'm like, fucking hell, no! What is going on with the world? This is not what we want to hear on a Monday, is it? It's like literally the last thing we want to, you know, hear about all that. Anyway, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna just bring up a couple of things that we've got. I might leave the music kind of tinkling there in the background as a bit of a backdrop for us. I am also going to just, you know, bring up on a variety of interfaces here. Let's look at the web. Let's look at what we can see over there as well. So one of the things, I think we're going to probably want to go, probably this view for, which we're going to do. Maybe this one. This one is better actually when it comes to doing this stuff. So I'm going to go for a this whole TechCrunch thing here. So we're going to say Rift 2 dead, bum 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 bum, or I'll just say Iribe. I just got a really nice kind of summary of that. This is kind of crazy. Link the article you're reading. I will. I will. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll just go through this piece by piece. Where you have information that I have not yet shared, please do as well. Share that with us. It'll be good to see. So we're gonna do this from. We're gonna do this from Firefox. So we have so many options. All right. Okay, we can go like this. What the hell size window is that? That's freaking weird. Okay, we're gonna go like this. Okay. So, right. What can we see here? Top stories of the day. Oculus co-founder is leaving Facebook after cancellation of Rift 2 headset. Okay. So that's the one from TechCrunch. That's the one I've seen. We're gonna go through the article and just talk about it. Hey, how's it going, Corey? And then Oculus co-founder Brendan Iribe is leaving Facebook. I just saw this guy at Oculus Connect. So one other thing, I'm gonna flip over here. Maybe we can get this window in a way that's gonna make sense for all of us. Let's go ahead here. Yeah, this looks good. How about like that? All right, let's get this party started. I don't know if we call this a party, like a pity party. Fucking hell. It's not news that I wanted to hear. I just want to clearly clarify that. This is not something I want to be reading. And okay, I'm gonna have to. Compatible cursor. Here we go. So yeah, this information here is not something that I wanted to see in a headline coming off of work on a Monday morning, afternoon, evening, whatever. Oh my God, Facebook denied it. Thank fuck. Put the pitchforks away. Facebook subsequently denied this report with a spokesperson telling Variety, yes, we are planning on a future version of Rift. Interesting. Bull also says, I have mostly heard speculation. Obviously, TC has unverified information from a source close to the matter. I've heard people have reached out for official word on this. They do say they have plans for future Rifts, but more speculation after they skipped a Rift Pro. So look, how concerning is this for us? You know, in terms of an overall line, do we think that this is a big deal? Let's just jump in here. There's some nice, pretty photos. Before we continue, yeah, okay. Right, so here we go. Here's the old picture, right? Brendan, great picture, by the way. I always liked it. He always rocks this like suit with a hoodie underneath, and then a shirt, like this whole kind of Silicon Valley look. So good stuff, Brendan. I've always liked your look, buddy. It always feels like he's like slightly over, like one extra layer of clothing that he doesn't need. So anyway. But I wanted to cover this off. Iribe is leaving Facebook following some internal shakeups in the company. Hang on, I'm gonna kill my music here. We don't need that in the background. Iribe is leaving Facebook following some internal shakeups. All right, hang on. I'm gonna bring this over here, and we're just gonna do it this way instead. Like that. I think that makes more sense. Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see. All right, that's good. Right. So Iribe is leaving Facebook following some internal shakeups in the company's virtual reality arm last week that saw cancellation of the coming Rift 2 PC-powered virtual reality headset, which he led development of. That must be feckin' a ball ache to be able to, be working on that for what must be 2.5 years since CV1 launched, and then to have that project canceled. So Rift 2 was really destined to be kind of the next step. I can see where if that project is done for, they're focusing on Quest, fair enough, but is the next step, what's the next step after that, right? They've been pouring money into development. I can't imagine that the return on investment guys are really seeing this. As amazing as all of us VR people think that the Rift is, and what PC gaming, for instance, brings to us, what are they getting back in terms of revenue? What are they selling on the store? What are they selling in terms of hardware? We know they've got market share over Vive, but it's not a huge lead, and I'm just wondering, are they making money at this point in that space? So Crash says, maybe the Rift 2 is dead because they're working on another VR headset that they don't want to have a second version added to it. It may also be that they're focusing on the AR game, which is really another race the companies are plowing towards. So I'm very interested so far in all this. Hey, Steve, how we going? Bull said a Rift Pro would not be bad, as the Rift itself will soon be behind both the Go and Quest in panel resolution, which is kind of backwards. Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I think they would look to move almost away from Rift and move to another. If they were going to go for a tethered headset, then maybe they would. But most people, one of the first things they come across is a cable. Tripping up on the cable or whatever, and that's a problem for most people. For content creators, it's actually a great thing. I say that because you have a direct pipe to your audience, and you've got quality push, very easy. Obviously rendering on the box instead of on the headset. Battery life isn't an issue. So for anyone who's in the kind of hardcore category, I think a tethered headset at the moment is the only way to go. I mean, how many people out there are on Go's that are doing, I don't know, what does Go even have an equivalent of Beat Saber or VR Chat, something that really went viral? Not yet. I mean, what we were playing yesterday, which is Poker VR, may even be closest to that because it was the top grossing application on the platform, at least last year, which we saw and heard about at Oculus Connect 4 as well. So anyway, not great news. Iribe announced his departure in a Facebook post today. Let's read the post, okay? And he says, so much has happened since the day we founded Oculus in July 2012. I never could have imagined how we would accomplish and how far we've come. And now, after 6 incredible years, I'm moving on. I'm deeply proud and grateful for all that we've done together. We assembled one of the greatest research and engineering teams in history. Absolutely true. For those of you who don't know, I am actually an electronic engineer, and my graduating class, who now is about, say, 10 years in the field, they were getting plucked up by Facebook and Oculus in Cork in Ireland. So had I stayed in that field, I probably would have been working for them. And to be honest, that was those are some of the brighter minds. I'm not saying I'm a brighter mind, but I'm saying that it's a tough kind of area. If you're talking about sub, the kind of at the silicon layer and below, the research laboratories and stuff like that in Ireland are actually really good. Obviously, Intel has been a huge proponent for this thing, and in terms of developing talent, both in Dublin and in Cork. And anyway, that's just a kind of backbone to all of it. So anyway, I said, we delivered the first step of true virtual presence with Oculus Rift and Touch and inspired an entirely new industry. We started a revolution that will change the world in ways we can't even envision. I can't say any more to that. I mean, he's one of 3 people in the original team. Brendan was CEO. You had Palmer Luckey, for whom I've got magazines around the office, and then my favorite of the trio actually was head of Nate, head of product. So Nate is still with Oculus as far as I'm aware. I'm wondering how long he'll last, if it really has been a kind of a push out or shutdown of this project. So we'll see. So yeah, as far as we've come, the journey's just begun. Michael Abrash is right. These are the good old days. They keep quoting him on this. This is getting really long in the tooth. Now is when we get to pioneer the foundation. And this is our time to be pushing state-of-the-art onward and upward. Every part of VR and AR needs to improve, especially the hardcore hardware and technology. And Oculus has the best team in the world to do that. Although we're still far from delivering the magical smart glasses we all dream about, They're now nearly within our reach. Working alongside so many talented people has been the most transformative experience of my career. He says, we have a saying when it comes, when someone compliments or thanks you, team effort. The success of Oculus was only because of such an extraordinary team effort, and I'd like to thank everyone who's been part of the journey, especially Mark for believing in this team and the future of VR and AR. Got to be honest there. I mean, Facebook has brought about a huge injection of cash, interest, attention. It's not just the funding; it's actually goal setting. You know, setting a target and actually competing in that industry. We haven't seen the same from Vive, at least not publicly, not in the same way, and certainly not with the same kind of prowess. So you have to give it up to Facebook, you know, a company that is really still new, still quite new, to be propping up an industry that is incredibly niche, and for it to have done so well over the last couple of years. I mean, my journey in this has been about 5 years now, and VR for me is something that transformed my life as well, and I do see it changing the shape of the way humans are interacting, and this is why, like, my tagline has been, you know, VR is changing us, and I think it really will change human interaction in the same way that when television was introduced, you know, you finally could see pictures of people from afar, you know, televised on that broadcast. So it says, as for me, this will be the first real break I've taken in over 20 years. It's time to recharge, reflect, and be creative. I'm excited for the next chapter. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to just talk about a few things here. Just switch over back to webcam for a sec. I'm just going to talk about this a little bit. I'm going to focus just on, actually probably could go here and focus on some of the feedback that we've got. So just bear with me, guys. Juggernaut said, I'm guessing they saw Vive Pro and the expectations versus sales and said, nope, nope, nope. I don't know, Jugs. Can I call you Jugs? I'm not convinced that this is a Vive has beaten us to the punch with a product. To be honest, my personal impression of Vive Pro is that, yeah, it's the price leader. It's not the all-round quality leader. I wouldn't pay the money to get a Vive Pro. I actually don't like that headset personally, and it's not something I'd recommend people pay their money for. You can, you know, get a Go for on the go, get a Rift for PC gaming, and you're sorted. Or better yet, even like go for a PSVR combo with a Rift, and then cover all the software you like across those two. You know, Rift Pro, we talked about that. The Rift 2 is dead because they're working on another headset. Okay, we talked about that. Deep Rifter says, I have a hard time believing they would leave their position in the high-end gaming market. I agree with you, Deep Rifter. Still hearsay at this point. I totally, absolutely agree. I doubt that they will relinquish such a strong position. There is money in this. It might take time to do that, but there is definitely money in this as well. And then Bull says, it's clearly Carmack controlling the direction of Oculus from the shadows in Texas. Yeah, well, he's got such a steer, and the thing is, people have been asking in some of these posts about Carmack as well. They're saying, you know, they're reaching out for Carmack to say, are you still in it? Are you still in this game? I mean, if we saw Abrash or Carmack go, that would be a huge hit to the overall kind of Rift catalog. And for somebody who saw, just to take an example and a parallel from this, if we took the example that we had before, with like Dean Hall and DayZ, who, you know, when you have a leader, a significant leader leave a project, it really does change some of the spiritual journeys that you're going on from there and the direction that they're going with, some of the fuel and the internal, you know, company chemistry. So I am certainly thinking that, you know, maybe there's something more like that. And Rifter says, geez, bracing for headlines that announce this is evidence that VR is dead. Facebook best be clarifying soon. I think that we've actually seen some shadows of they might be. I think this is an article that has gone clickbait to the max. It says it's very misleading. Here you go. All right, let's go ahead and open up what Carmack says. Okay, thanks. And we'll just go over here. So we'll say, oh, I opened in the other window. 1 second. I'll just get it up over here. Okay, so let's have a look. So it says, I do intend to stay at Facebook past the launch of Oculus Quest. I'd love a comment from Carmack saying whether or not he's planning to stay. Okay, that's fine. So I don't think I expected anything different. I mean, if you're an engineer, and John is an engineer like so few are not, I would not expect him to do any differently. He cares to his soul about where this is going, and I feel like he is fighting for battles in the right. He's very self-critical in terms of the product, in terms of the app stack, where they are, and I do feel he's like a marionette at the center of Oculus as well, able to pull on those strings, and he's not letting down. You can tell he's got a pit bull terrier inside him, and I really like that about John. But the kind of clarity of vision to say, I'm going to make a change for the right reason in terms of that engineering focus is what John's always brought to the table. So glad to see that confirmed. That's a good thing from him. Honestly, I wasn't worried that John was going to leave. I never got that vibe from him. I would actually be curious, as I said, more about Nate, who was the last remaining of the trio, Palmer, Iribe, and Nate. So Nate, head of product, is the thing that I was quite interested. We need John on the Joe Rogan podcast. I loved that they mentioned that earlier this week. That was quite good. And he says, my understanding was that Iribe had moved from Oculus to Facebook before and left Facebook today. But that may not be right. No, Minnie, I don't think that's... moved from Oculus to Facebook before and left Facebook today. Yeah, so... in terms of the employment lines, that's fine. But I mean, if he's still head of the project, I mean, moving in between two companies that are owned by the same entity is I would say not news. But let's have a look a little bit more at this as we go through it. 1 second. Okay. And there we go. I'm just going to go through a little bit more of these articles. How am I doing on size? You can like zoom right in and gives us kind of like the perfect little side here. Okay, high profile startups. What are we going to say here? There's not much else in this post that I've come across. I read this before coming on just now. Iribe came onto Facebook after the $2 billion acquisition of Oculus VR, where he became the company's founding CEO. After a substantial company reorganization in late 2016, Iribe was moved from the CEO position to the head of the company's PCVR division. So the head of the PCVR division is really the big news here for me. That's really the big news. And they've said before co-founding Oculus, he was product officer of Gaikai, a cloud gaming setup that Sony bought in 2010 for $380 million. Before that, he co-founded and led Scaleform, a gaming user interface tools that started that Autodesk bought in 2011 for $36 million. So obviously he's got his belt covered and all that. Very good. Let's look at other things that we have in terms of news. Okay, so let me see what I can do here. There we go. That's what I was looking. Back up. There we go. So this is the one. Oculus co-founder Brendan Iribe is leaving Facebook. This is over at Variety. And maybe I'll open that up as well. That's not the one. Okay, let's go into this. If anyone else has any other news that you'd like to discuss, points of perspective, then let's go ahead and air them now. I find this very interesting. If I was a developer right now on PC VR, I would be a little bit upset, and I'd be a little bit like, whoa, 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 hang on, this came out of left field. Why are we saying that Rift 2 is canceled? I mean, so you're essentially hearing from the head of PC VR that Rift 2 is canceled. Rift 2, I mean, this is something where they're firing on all cylinders, right? We're seeing from Hugo Barra, we're seeing from just applause and thank you from other members of the team. Loads of people in the VR scene are actually kind of jumping in and giving their perspective. They were ready about this. Guy Godin says, yes, I am upset. I thought so. So, I mean, like, the original trio was such a magic squad. Like, they felt like the Beatles or something like that. You know, born in a basement, born in a garage, and just there together. That magic. When Palmer left, you know, I was definitely feeling, you know, not great about the whole thing. And you know what? I don't do this very often, but feck it. Let's take her down. There was a thing that I got from my wife as a present, and this was like, I'm gonna be careful here because this thing is like, was my pride and joy. Some of you will remember this, but it took her about a year to find this thing, and it was like really important to the point where, and I should probably release this video of me now, but like this thing, this is not just to me any mag. This is where we were as a team. This is something that Some of you might remember. Some of you may have seen this cover before. But to get a copy of this, like I totally missed it. And like a year and a half later, she managed to find a copy in Italy or somewhere and send it to me. So I don't know. These are definitely rare at this point. But like Lucky, after his departure, is like part of the original team, you know, part of the original team. And I'm like, when the band gets broken up, things change. I'm not saying that Oculus won't be successful from this point. I have loads of faith in them as a company. I really do. I happened to be in my Oculus sweatshirt today. I don't fake these kinds of things, so it was a bit weird that I was in my Oculus sweatshirt working late, and then all of a sudden it was like, bam, huge news hits you. And this is like the last thing you want. And I just walked downstairs and I said to my wife, sorry, I ran downstairs. I was like, honey, news is striking. Let's get together. We got to talk about this because this is like a huge piece of news. It's like the biggest piece of news that we've had in how long? So I really wanted to get together and just talk about it. And I'm curious, like, Guy, what's your thoughts? What's your initial kind of feedback about this thing? I'm just going to go through this Variety article, which I assume is just like a copy paste of the other one. I haven't read this one yet. He's saying, oh yeah, see, look, Facebook denied a TechBook Crunch report that the departure was prompted by a corporate decision to cancel plans for a second-generation headset. Oh, very interesting. So Oculus co-founder and former CEO Brendan Iribe is the latest executive to leave Facebook. See, when they frame it like that, that's really interesting. Monday, he's leaving Oculus after 6 years, and Facebook denied a TechCrunch report, right? That departure was prompted by a corporate decision to cancel plans for a second-generation Oculus Rift headset. I never could have imagined. Okay, and multiple Facebook executives thanked Iribe for his work. It says when prototypes were all duct taped and hot glued. I still remember that. It was amazing to see those pieces of technology come together. And for those, I still remember watching the Doom video with Carmack on it and going, what is this thing he's got on his face? What is he talking about? Seeing Palmer Luckey and then getting some months later to actually try it out in some guy's house in London who just happened. I found him on the Overclockers forum, which is a PC, custom PC outline here, and it was very interesting. Guy says, surprised. So his reaction is, for those of you who don't know, Guy is behind Virtual Desktop. It's an application which I've loved for years. I think it's kind of held its own niche for all that time, for probably three and a half years, and continues to surprise and wow. And for those of you who haven't seen it, Guy said I could talk about this. There is a version whereby you could remotely, in VR and like your Go, control your PC and run files and stuff like that on the go. So I could be in California, reach back to my PC, in Scotland, and actually control my files and refer to things there. That's insane. Like, to tag on to an already amazing application, that's cool. So anyway, he says, surprised because they have been working on the next version for a long time. I know, I think it's about 2.5 years. My guess is they are delaying Gen 2 since Gen 1 didn't take off as much as they thought. I'm just guessing like everyone else. Yeah, good comments though, and I put weight in your thoughts. I'm glad I've been working on a mobile version now, lol. You know what they say, smart people know what they're doing. And Bull says, who's huge into this stuff as well, at the same time they have continuously launched products. They're still doing so with the Quest, so maybe they feel like they can push further for a later launch window for a Rift successor. And great to have our little ASCII character there. I much appreciate that. Let's see. If you ran downstairs, did you fall and hurt yourself? I didn't hurt myself, White. Thank you, though. Crash says, laughed hard when the pics came out. We need an Oculus statement ASAP to put out the wildfires, to be honest, and I hope it's internet BS, says Crash. So look, I think it's not going to be it's going to be something that we're going to be definitely talking about for the next week. We're going to get statements. Facebook, I'm sure, will clarify. There'll be something else that may even be press coverage or something on this. I would be interested if they actually put something out like on video and actually showed someone talking about the subject, just to kind of allay fears as to what's happening, what isn't happening, clarify. Because you know how fast the rumor mill goes. I mean, I'm not going to make any guesses here. I'm just going with what I'm reading off of various articles, and TechCrunch seems to be pretty good. I don't think I remember a time when I've seen something that wasn't solid. So all that kind of stuff. You're welcome. I was checking if you were hurt. Thanks. Awesome. And Minnie says, I hope they just mean that they want Gen 1 to last longer than that Gen 2 isn't dead. I also think that they're into like a console cycle. So the fact that they haven't replaced Rift, I think provides developers a kind of a firm bed to say, for the next 12 months, can I put my blood, sweat, and tears into a product on this headset? Or is there another product that's just about to come out of the gates and I can't dedicate that resource and time? I need to have some assurances. So actually, I think that having and staying with the original Rift for as long as they have is a really good thing. I don't think that that's a problem at all. You change your hardware too frequently, what's going to happen is your developer is going to look for either a little bit more stability or start to work and focus in smaller work packages on shorter term goals so that they can kind of follow an agile flow, deliver to their, obviously to their recipients, make some money on it and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is the Variety article. The other thing I want to see, and this is a cool little tool that I've done before, so let's go ahead and use this. This is an application called Twitterfall, and if you haven't seen this before, you must sign in. Sign in with Twitter. Should just let me. Come on. Good. Okay, Twitterfall is really interesting. So what you do is you go ahead and you just give it searches. So for instance, we might say Rift 2 dead. We might say Iribe leaving, right? And what else? PC VR dead. Let's just go for some real firm things here. Then I'm going to zoom in, and you can actually start to see, can Fortnite just get rid of, what the hell? How's that coming in here? Console, multiplayer VR game. This doesn't seem to be working at all. Hold on, geolocation. What are we going to do? Search location 10 meters. Search location 200 kilometers. Right, that's fine. Exclusions. PCVR. This is. I'm clearly not helping. Oh God. Yeah, this is great. That's my own fault for doing that. But I mean, this is kind of cool. So if you've ever been looking to watch live news, this is a great way to do it and just see what people are saying as it comes in. And so it's kind of a live. Now this is obviously queued up. And there's actually a way you can go for presentation mode, which actually makes this kind of look even better. So I don't know, I can probably do that like this, and boom, you've got different titles coming through. So that's Twitterfall. I find that kind of interesting as a starting point. Let's talk a little bit as well about where this leaves us. How are we doing on time? I've still got another 20 minutes or so if we want to spend that. As I mentioned, tonight's date night with me and my wife, so I will not be moving. I will not be staying here for all night. I just wanted to pop on and talk about the hot news because it's definitely something quite interesting. Okay, iPlayGame says, I've got a 9-foot titanium pitchfork with the latest tech, aluminum shaft with high prong density. Cute. A box, how's it going? And if those of you who haven't seen it, let's see, Bull says, oh shit, they can also access my DMs. That is creepy. Yeah, the DMs are also technically out there, aren't they? My hot news is my PC setup. Oh, nice box, nice. So anyway, that's the deal. That's this. This is how this is going. So I mean, Twitterfall doesn't seem to be going too crazy. Usually, if you just leave this thing up, like I always thought about maybe having back here or something like a nice vertical display with Twitterfall just going with like VR announcements, and it'll be pretty good. But it doesn't seem too bad, DMs are private, very private, unless the other party leaks. Oh, okay, Bull. All right, that's fine. I didn't know if there was encryption or something on that. This is kind of handy because you're able to kind of like just boom, grab some stuff or view a tweet or whatever, and it just keeps going along the way. So anyway, that's what we're seeing. Yeah. Sorry, mentions is what I was thinking about, Bull. Thank you. All right, so look at that. We've got a second Oculus co-founders leaving Facebook after reportedly clashing with management. Facebook loses another important executive as Oculus co-founder resigns. Let's see, and we'll say Iribe. Let's see, double click that heading. Sure. Brendan Iribe to cancel. And I'll put a question mark because we don't know yet if that's the case. Anyway, Twitterfall is really handy, and I do think that that's a cool piece there. Oh, I was on there. Were you? Were you on there, Minnie? So yeah, if you're tweeting any of those little statements, then that's the thing it goes. What's weird is that this was literally a month ago, right? What was the? Oh, I guess you're gonna show me I think I know what this is.
So with this...
Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and run this. This seems cool. All right, let's go for it.
So with this in mind, we're now directing our roadmap so that future versions of the products that we build are going to be compatible with the current ones. So when we release the new version of Rift, which isn't today, by the way, all of the content that works for Rift is going to work on that next version too. So this means that every generation of what we build is going to build towards this threshold.
Interesting. Let's watch that again.
So with this in mind,
watch his face.
We're now directing our roadmap so that future versions of the products that we build are going to be compatible with the current ones. So when we release the new version of Rift, which isn't today, by the way, all of the content that works for Rift is going to work on that next version too. So this means that every generation of what we build is going to build towards this threshold.
Interesting. Interesting. Thank you for that link. That was really interesting. That was really interesting. So anyway, we've got a little bit more here on Twitterfall. You know what? I think we're. How does this affect us? Let's think about it. If PC VR is another year plus away, okay? If it's another year plus away, what does it mean for us as PC VR gamers, players, etc.? Probably not a lot. Rift will continue, and I think Rift will get to the point where it's quite long in the tooth. And I think that maybe the focus on varifocal displays, some of the AI type tech, pieces of which Quest is leveraging are getting built into that next project. So the engineering cycle, we felt this really since last year. I'd say from OC4 through to OC5 and some of the kind of engineering-y stuff that they were putting out there gave a vibe of we're still in the shop, we're still tweaking and tuning. Obviously, they're focusing more on standalone, eliminates the cables, gets closer to the requirement of getting that billion people into VR. I mean, it's a really long goal. It's a target that's far out there, but I'm curious about where we're left in PC VR. The main thing is panel resolution for me at the moment. So if Rift and Oculus, there's going to be this kind of feeling of this like black hole. If Rift and Oculus don't have, Rift 2, this puts them in a really interesting position, because now they have to either respond and outline some of their plans that are coming, or they've got to come back and basically say, yeah, for the next year, we're not releasing another Rift. We're going to be focusing on Quest, which as a developer, to me, I'd be going, right, here's my PC stuff. I'm going to shift a little bit over towards mobile. So a little bit to Guy's point, in terms of a focus on mobile, maybe a positive, healthy thing for people who are looking to make a buck out of VR. Guy says, another guess, they're canceling Rift 2 and adding the ability to tether the next generation of Quest to a PC, thus merging the two platforms. I have wanted a tetherable, floating VR headset for some time. I think it's a great kind of merger of the two. You get your freedom, but you also have the ability to tap in, get a little bit more power. I think USB-C is a great thing to be able to just hook in, get right into the PC. There's obviously that also, what's that fucking port? Can't remember. Volby says, isn't licking your lips an indication of lying? Or just dry mouth. But Fulby, it could be. Could be. Bull says, I have a hard time deciding what, if any, hidden messages there was in his reaction. I'm not good at reading lizard people. And Bull says, did you see that photo of the Vive Focus seemingly streaming Steam VR from a PC? Maybe this is the future we're heading towards. And Guy says, I feel like streaming with PC VR is a gimmick. I also am in that camp. I'm not a huge fan of that. Oh, look, there's my post now just hit as well. That's funny. Retweeted by Siddharth. Siddharth, thanks for retweeting me, brother. He then says, Quest could be such a big deal, even though I dislike Oculus's anti-competitive practices. I hope they keep their crap together for the good of VR. Ethan says, tetherable would be great. Reminds me of the days of laptop external GPUs. My God, did anyone here have an external GPU that you plugged into? I mean, I've been down the SLI camp and I've done some crazy stuff. I currently have an external hard drive sitting on my machine, internally connected, which is kind of weird. It's literally, it's like blue tack to the side of one of my hard drive bays for my sins, for my sins. But yeah, things are looking good. So for those of you just joining us, what we've got on the screen at the moment, this is called Twitterfall. It's a live log of things that are hitting related to this subject matter. There's probably better filters I could apply, but at the moment, that's where we are. If we wanted to, and actually I could do this, let's take a simple look at one additional thing. I'm going to see what is happening in VR land right now. How much of VR search is this going? So let's go PC VR, let's go Rift, Oculus. We're going to add Oculus and Rift. Okay, let's see. Presentation mode. All right, let's have a look. So all three founders leaving is the real Oculus Rift. Did someone take that joke? Because maybe I can delete this. Oh my God. We've got Zuck's Army, Oculus VR co-founder leaving Facebook. All kinds of things are announcing. Let's see. Yeah, and we know about the HMD Odyssey Plus. If you guys haven't heard about the Odyssey Plus, look about it. What else have we got? Dun dun dun. Disappearing sculptures were inspired by quantum physics. This is by the way just VR related. TechCrunch obviously is there as well. Retweets are hitting. This is going to be pretty normal, I think, in terms of what we're seeing. So I'm going to leave that going for a moment. Okay. So I think we're rounding out at the moment. If you only just joined us, we are talking about the news that has just landed. It hit a TechCrunch post, later brought through by Variety as well, which is about the co-founder of Oculus, Brendan Iribe, who had a CEO position previously and is head of PC VR for Facebook's VR department, is going. So it's interesting. I have to say, very interesting news. We do have a formal statement by Facebook to deny the claim that the departure was post a corporate decision to cancel plans for a second-gen Rift. So it may very well be that he's throwing a spanner in the works, going to something else because he's not happy. And there were, from what we've heard in the TechCrunch post, it was kind of a parting of minds, parting of ways in terms of the direction to take Rift as a product. And so I'm very interested to see where does this lead us. If this was a spanner thrown in the works, right? To kind of give kind of a last to an employer that you might not be so happy with, if that's the case, right? And I kind of doubt that, but if that's the case, and actually they're replacing Brendan, or we're giving him the kind of shove out the door, which actually I think happened already with Palmer. Palmer got shoved out the door. Obviously had stark political views, didn't blend well with Facebook, and we know he wasn't great. I mean, he was fantastic for us entertainers who liked to look at Palmer's posts and tweets, and I still think he's a great, passionate guy. If you've ever seen him in cosplay, my God, the pictures are astounding. Let's say I prefer him in that getup as opposed to anything else. But yeah. So with him going, I'm really interested to see, is it just that Facebook has replaced their PC VR head? And actually they're going for somebody with, bigger pedigree, bigger balls, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes companies decide internally that someone's got to go. And even if that person hasn't resigned yet, they, start hiring in and they feel the pressure of like, hey, I'm not wanted here anymore. They feel this absorption of their powers. And then they just say, you know what, stuff it. I'm off. I'm going to go do something, useful with my life and my time. Maybe that's it. So we'll see how that goes. He then has said, I got into Google's Project Stream for AC Odyssey, amazing tech for flat screen, but that latency would never work for VR unless they somehow detach camera from rendering power, which I can't imagine is possible. Thin clients aren't going to be the answer. Odyssey Plus is tempting for me as an OG Vive owner. I am also an OG Vive owner, and I still think that Rift is it for me at the moment, but Vive is very good for certain things. I actually think it's a bit of a funny thing to say, but I think when it comes down to Beat Saber, Vive's got it. Just the wands. I don't generally like the wands. They're like my last thing that I like. but they're there. Let's have a look again at Twitterfall. We've got articles picking up as well. So this is all just VR related. This is a little bit of a different filter to the one we had before. I probably should have opened a separate window so we could jump between the two. This one is really just going to be showing you global posts where it talks about Iribe leaving Facebook and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Twitterfall is a good place to good place to go and just check for news. Guys, we are with about 10 minutes left. If anyone's got points of view you'd like to discuss, I will be wrapping at 9 o'clock because I got a commitment to go spend some time with the wife, and I will hold that up. But thank you for tuning in and talking about this. I think it's definitely a turning point for the industry. I don't think it's death of PCVR, but I am very interested to hear in the next 6 months. I'm willing to wait. I'm patient. I am definitely a patient fella. I don't need a statement from Oculus or Facebook in the next 6 months, but I'd like to hear really in Q1 post the launch of Quest what their plans are for PCVR. What are they going to do next? So I just like to thank. So Rift 2 apparently has not been canceled. Facebook has disputed that post. TechCrunch posted it, as Bull says, turned the internet on fire, and people are apparently saying no. Rift 2 is not canceled. Iribe's just going, and he had too much cake at his leaving party. Got him a little bit excited. I don't know. Iribe, I respect the guy. As I said, the original trio is a group. It's like a band that I will miss. I always want us to go back to that. Maybe that's just me getting old. But I so want that original band back together to just make something. And I don't mind if it's world-shattering or whatever. But I'd love to see those three guys originally together, come back together. It'd be fun. Heathen says, glad to hear it. It wouldn't make sense for Facebook or Oculus to announce cancellations like that. It hurts the market without helping them. I agree as well. Crash says, laughing like a kid here. Yeah, I mean, it's like funny stuff, It's funny stuff, this. Anyway, so this life will go on. I just want to say that. And thanks, everyone, for jumping in real quick for this quick chat. Doesn't look like we've got too much else there to talk about. So I'll love you and leave you. I'll see you tomorrow for the show. And until then, stay on fire, Internet. I love you like this. It's the way to go. I'll see you again soon, guys, for some more news. I'm sure we'll be talking about this on the F Reality podcast. If you don't know us already, check out freality.tv. I'm really looking forward to that debate this coming weekend. I'm going to have my boxing gloves on, and we'll see how we go. So anyway, cheers, guys. See you later. All right. A little bit of music on the outro, and we're out of here. Good night.
In mind, we're now directing our roadmap so that future versions of the products that we build are going to be compatible with the current ones. So when we release the new version of Rift, which isn't today, by the way, all of the content that works for Rift is going to work on that next version too. So this means that every generation of what we build is going to build towards this threshold.